What's good, YouTube? And welcome to a happy Cinco de Mayo. I hope you're having a good one, and also the YCS absolutely wrecking the market. Charlie took it down with Mitsurugi Ryzeal. We've been talking about that deck and how it recently had double down buyouts and was going up in price. Well, it proved itself versus a sea of Sutff and Maliss decks among others, and it did really prove strong. Then we have the top 32 deck list posted by Konami, so people were able to go in and look up cards, and a ton of those have been moving faster than deck lists could come out and that sort of stuff. So it is interesting to get this kind of communication from Konami and them posting lists after so long of holding off from doing that for a whole top 32. Very impressive. And then we also got updated pricing, which we've been asking for ages, and a lot of mixed reception to this. Some people calling it lazy, oh, you're just putting a stamp on it, could have been crazy alter arts or special things, and others really applauding the direction, myself included. I've been asking for this for ages. Japan just got it. It would be so unfair if we didn't get some implementation of it, and here is Valor, a very big one to top 16. Top 32's choice not quite as good. I'm a huge fan of Trooper. Troop Dupe is one of my favorite formats to play. I topped the last Trooper Dupe actual format. It was Indianapolis 07, I want to say, and yeah, I have a soft spot for this card, but it doesn't belong here. Even as an Edison card and GX card, it just doesn't belong in my opinion, and many other people do have that take. And then finally, I really like most of the choices in this pack. Cyber Dragon is timeless, Blue Eyes is great, Gale for past format, Dante is a throwback, we have Shadow Fusion and Charge, which are great, Pot of Desires has found its way back into formats before, but why does Gagaga Magician think he's on the team? This was failed to sell as an ultimate rare, and it ended up as pure bulk as an ulti. So I just don't understand Konami's choice to put this in after it has a huge failed history. It's like the bum hit of the pack. And Wave King High Caesar is actually kind of interesting in here. So all of day 2 gets now a promo pack with different RNG prize cards that could lead up to a bigger hit with Blue Eyes and Cyber Dragon. You then have the Card Trooper for 32, which a lot of people are dismissing. And I do have to say it'll have some value, but not the most in the world. And then Valor, I think a lot of people are underestimating, and here's why as a market perspective breakdown. Let's say there's 16 YCSs in a season, and they cycle this after one season. We don't know that yet, but let's say Konami keeps the pricing updated, unlike side events, where we see the 6th DMOC, the 5th Jinzo Giant card for Edison. Yeah, I keep seeing the cards sell for less, unfortunately. But let's say they stay on top of it since it's the main event, and there's 16 YCSs with this, and it's only top 16, that's 256 of the YCS stamps. Now the WCQ will bring out a ton all at once, which means that will flood the market at the end of the cycle of it, and let's say that goes over double and goes to 600. Well, we have comparable cards for that. The giveaway United We Stand that started at 800 and I said was way too high, I told people to sell theirs, has fallen all the way down towards $250 to $260. I think we also have the Guardian Angel Joan recently selling for 170-ish, and then there's the Blue Eyes as well, which I haven't checked in with for a while. But I wanted to bring up this card specifically because it's not as played. It is fondly remembered, and Valor is played, yet this has 800 copies if I'm not mistaken, and that might be per region or something like that for the giveaways. And then there's also the Japanese version as well, but let's pretend that there's only 800 of these, no others got out, and it wasn't multiple other regions. It's still maintaining this price despite whatever copies are out there, and is now settled towards $250, and it's a far less desirable card than Valor that floats back into formats, gets played in past formats very successfully at a high number, and I think this will do well for itself. Now, it does have to fight a quarter century secret rare, starlight rare, ultimate rare, all those different ones. But if there's only a grand total of like 600 of these released or so, we'll have to see how many total WCQs they are, if they change the language on them, if they come in English only, that kind of stuff, and what regions actually get them. Still, if there's like 600 total between both stamps, this is going to have a pretty hefty price, and I think it'll start out at its highest from its first YCSs, as the demand will be the max versus the supply, and then as you get to the WCQ, you'll get that kind of flood on the market of them, and if they announce they're going to do a new set of cards, this becomes the first of the line. This becomes way more collectible all of a sudden, and I think there would be a pretty big rush at it. But we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out, and that's just speculation. Now let's get to the actual changing cards instead of card theory. This isn't merch. It's card prices. It's important to the game, okay? But if you're here for what happened on the market, Divine Golden Shadow Dragon here was played in, I believe, the first place list and another two, and you can see it was slowly going up. Now it's a $5 card, and the collector rare has completely gone. You might want to get that sooner than later using that TCG Player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying, because it's out of Maze. And if you want access to this, not a ton of people are opening Maze packs, and I think that this will end up probably going up a bit more, even though it's been nonstop doing that right now with the success that it saw. Mitsurugi Raizel also seeing its day in the battlefield. This has been consistently pushed back up in price, and I think it's proven that it earned it for the WCQ season. Harpy's Featherstorm was played in the first place list, and you can see here that it is now towards $20. There was also the viral Dami Mommy Harpy moment from the YCS, maybe pouring on a bit, but the QCR definitely going up, and since it has a QCR and OG rarity collection, you know you can get this easy access and low rarity for very, very cheap. Also, Regenis is seeing a top. I remember a lot of the comment section saying it would only go down. Oh, it's gonna crash. I remember those comments. Well, here it goes up in price. $22. People love getting surprised at competitive tournaments and then rushing at the market for cards. Ling Karibo, I did tell you to go and get those super rares. They've gone up to a whopping $2. Woohoo! But you can see the spike here in the graph. Hopefully you got yours sooner than later. It's still a pretty good price to end up getting it at, and the ultra rares are really going up there right now. Back up at Ignister started going down from pre-sales, and then with how much it did see success, I think it was in 12 of the list, if I'm not mistaken, it's around $20 very quickly here on the page. And okay, this is an interesting conversation. The QCR is actually nothing but down in price. So why I wanted to bring this up is, what is fair for a max rarity? Usually it's 3x to maybe 4x, and it is currently selling for more than that, trying to cling towards being triple digit, but falling from there. And now lowest sales are 92, and it's towards 95 right now. It does have the waifu tax on top of it, however, so I would think it would lean more towards a 4x, but I could see this coming back down towards 82, 85 if the ultra is sticking the landing at 20. Let me know your thoughts on this specific card, because it's all too often we see max rarity try to find its path, and I feel like 3x is fair and 4x to 4.5 is usually hype, and past that usually gets a bit ridiculous. But depending on the card's legacy in the game, at a point like wanted cards and that kind of stuff, they can go absolutely ridiculous even after buyouts and reprints and everything that's happened. Like, they can maintain a crazy ratio versus the lower rarities depending on the history in the game, but this is a newer card. Maliss P. March hair is down just a hair. You can see the spike here. It's really become everybody's punching bag from the event. Ah, look at it. It's just like thunder. People are just comparing it, saying, when will it win an event? Can it win an event? It took Thunder 2 years. Maliss will eventually get there. So yeah, it going from immediately like up to back down in price is kind of a bit eye-opening, but it's still floating towards its pre-sales like price of 60, I believe it was, and it's above it by a little hair. DD Designator is getting bought out as a tech option potentially for Maliss, even though it didn't appear at the YCS. Just be aware that would be the reason that it is going. And then we have the Mulch Army, which was an over 20 list from the YCS, and it's pretty darn good against Maliss. So this has crossed the $70 threshold at this point and is consistently selling up towards there, and the lowest copies are around 75 now. Definitely one of the hand traps of choice right now. World Code Dragon, we talked about this briefly, got one top, and we also saw buyouts for stuff like Topologic Bomber Dragon, which it didn't use. It ended up using Zero Boros, which you can get for even its highest rarity Ultra out of a structure deck or battles for a quarter or less. So just add this to your card if you don't have it and you're looking for Ultimate Slayer. And speaking of, I did say Ultimate Slayer was falling off. It was in only that one list from what I was seeing. Using the control find function on deck lists are so nice. Songs of Dominators I did not see in the top. Let me know if I missed that somehow, but it is spiking up in price, which I did mention. There's a certain kind of player in the game that are going to want to go for this card, and I feel like even if it didn't see commercial success, it could end up going up, and that's exactly what it is doing, towards $18 right now after having fallen down towards $10, and the QCR is also going way up in price and is now back up towards $80 after selling at lows of 60s. Okay, I get to tell you I told you so, but for the wrong reasons. This did not see success, but people are making builds and doing stuff. At least it didn't here in the TCG. Let me know if it did somehow in the OCG. Spectral has absolutely spiked in price. After being $2, it is a low of $12. This is one that I said I had a good feeling of. Everyone was telling me, nope, it failed in the OCG. It's not going to do it. Look at all these sales at 12s plus. This is crazy. But I do think it's probably, like, the comment section is usually when they're that in mass about something, right? But they were just wrong about Regenesis. So I feel like this is an interesting one because I'm right, but for the wrong reasons. I don't think it's proof in the pudding. It didn't do it in Top Cut at the YCS yet. Here it is, really selling at $12 fast. A Morphage Sloth is also going up for Dragon variants. It's a dragon itself. It's a level 6, not 7. And both versions are on complete buyout mode. So if you have super rares, you might want to pick them out of bulk. Hieratic Sun Dragon Overlord. I remember always calling this Hepple Dragon because Heliopolis people would always murder its name. But the first editions are on buyout mode and the unlimbs are slowly going up. So be aware of that. I'm not sure if this is for a specific pass format like Redo or why this is going right now. If it's actual dragon rank up stuff. Everything for the most part except for Magia, which climbed a little bit again, is going down here on the front page. Even Trap Dushu has settled here in Stampede. So be aware, a lot of downward motion. I've already been talking about how I would be nervous about certain cards becoming Starlight rare. I don't think you should worry too much about the ban cards, but maybe. Who knows? But Konami can really reprint anything in Starlight that doesn't have a Starlight from before. And I do think when it comes down to it, like, so many of these cards have the option to appear once again one day as Starlight, like Ash Blossom, Dark Magician Girls, etc. Or 30th. There's just so many opportunities, and Konami hasn't really held reservations with Alter Arts or classic cards, and they've waved them into the ground. So I do think there's a bit of nervousness in the air combined with a dying down in demand as a lot of people got theirs for their collection. Let me know what you think about Stampede. Are you kind of chilling out on it too? Did you finish your collection from it and that's what you're chilling on? Or are you waiting for certain prices on cards before you go in? Also, Harpy's Feather Duster, speaking of Dami Mommies, I was told in the Discord that the replacement ones seem to be OCG cardstock and feel extremely nice. So if you ended up mailing yours in that was damaged and getting another one, people are telling me the replacements are golden and what you actually want to have. I know the old mail-in Dark Paladins are really cool too, the corrected arts, but these, hearing that they're a higher quality if you did get an error, that is interesting. And then finally, I just had the Guardian Angel Joan up. It recently had a couple sales, so it's up. But yeah, the sales are right around the 170-ish, especially after sales tax. I wanted to compare in the conversation to that and make sure to do research on comparable number of cards, but I think this one will be far more iconic and interesting. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch and discussion. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed these conversations, and let me know what you think about the pricing for real. I want to hear more inputs than just Twitter, because that can be a bit one-sided of a conversation at times, although there are a lot of different takes right now out there on this.